give me your version of artificial intelligence, and then I will share with you my version of it and what I'm looking at when people tout the word.
Okay. So there's two components to it. I mean, I'll give you something rather than be overly futuristic. I'll give you something that may be relevant to the markets and the economy in the near to medium term, let's say. So there are two components to it. The first is what we have been seeing in our day-to-day lives, to at least in our professional lives to some degree, which is, I guess the way to call it is algorithmic artificial intelligence, which is really machine learning. So it's to do with numbers. We're talking about deep learning models and that sort of a thing. It's basically, deep mathematical models coming together with enhanced data processing power, cloud computing, and all of the resources and that processing capacity expanding to a point where we can now do calculations that would have been just, from a capacity perspective, very difficult to do. So that was sort of what we were, when we talked about machine learning and artificial intelligence pre-2022, 2023, that's largely what we were referring to. But I think the more recent sort of surge in artificial intelligence in terms of the way it's been discussed is what you call Gen AI or generative AI. And for simplicity, it's really being able to understand day-to-day language. So basically taking conversations, transcripts, and being able to the machine being able to understand that consistently and very precisely. And that opens the door to all sorts of things at a very simple level. I mean, I'll take an example from my telecom coverage. You can significantly reduce your call center costs. The chatbot should be able to do 70 to 80% of what a live agent would be able to do, as opposed to prior, maybe 10%. So that opens the door to all sorts of innovations and products, and changes to various industry structures. I'll give you one other example. I think it was last year, Goldman Sachs produced a very interesting report about all the different sectors that are going to be more affected and less affected. And on the more affected side, an area that popped up, and it's very relevant to our coverage, is legal. A very old-fashioned business, old-fashioned sector where the managing partner, 20 years ago, when he didn't have a computer on his desk, is now transitioning to a very much technology-driven service. So this is why you're seeing stocks like Thomson Reuters and Reed Elsevier and that group doing really well, because what used to be associate-driven or legal associate-driven workflow, they got paid very well. They did huge hours. That can now very effectively be done with generative AI. So that's sort of the way to kind of think about what we're going through right now.
Absolutely brilliant. And our legal system in North America, English-based, is precedent-based. And it's incredible. These precedents, they will dig back into the 1600s. I've seen them before in a suit where you read the legal suit, all of a sudden you see these precedents from 1640 about one farmer getting into a fight with the farmer next door over, a stone wall and a goat that escaped. Insane. And that's what large language models can now interpret, as opposed to off you go to the reference library and going through all these articles and the likes. That I get. But the word, the operative word, the buzzword that you used is learning, machine learning. And my concern right now, no different than 3D printing, Jack, and you remember this quite well, when 3D printing became hot, all of a sudden all kinds of companies attached 3D printing to their dossier, and the stock popped. And it was a lot of smoke and mirrors as far as I was concerned. Cannabis, same thing. Any drink maker injecting some cannabis byproducts into it got a pop for a little bit. So these things come and go. But so a lot of stuff is being touted as artificial intelligence, when in fact, I don't really think it's intelligent. I think it's what you're saying. It's these large mathematical algorithmic models that can tumble numbers and grab a lot of data and tumble it very quickly that you and I couldn't physically do. And Jack and I are currently using such tools in our management of our clients' wealth. So we're using large algos to help us decipher data very, very quickly. And it's very powerful. But it is not learning. And so, Aravinda, I know that we're all on a bit of a mission you, myself, Jack, on finding some good artificial tools that can help us interpret the market. What is the market truly seeing that you and I, with our naked eye and pea-brains, can't interpret? In other words, money flows, trends, and using repetitive historic movements to then come up with future predictions. And that's sort of what Tony Dwyer does, but again, manually. He used to dig through data, find occurrences like today, and go back. In the last 70 years, there were 4 occurrences when the Fed lowered rates by 50 basis points, when the market was up 12% a year, mid-year, and in those 2 occurrences, the market tended to do the following for the remainder of the year. But again, very small data set. But what stands out to me, boys and girls at home, and again, it's a HiFi Radio show about money, making money large. It's about the future and about getting the next trend. That's how you can really get rich. Yeah, you can buy the staples and the cores, which we own, but when you get some of the really hot stuff, boy, it can be lucrative and also fun. It's not about fun, it's about making money, but if the fun's a byproduct. But the thing that stands out to me, Aravinda, and Jack as well, and listeners at home, where I really saw machine learning was, and again, Aravinda, you know all about this, is the game of chess. When they created software to play against man with chess, but that chess game, through use, got better. And that's the stuff that I think is most interesting when machine begins to create its own machine and exponentially gets better. And this is upon us, Aravinda.